Think your shoes are just shoes? Wrong. They're basically your resume, your personality test, and sometimes your biggest red flag all in one. Today, we're breaking down what your sneakers actually say about you. And trust me, some of you won't like what's coming. Let's start with the Air Force One. Let's be honest. Air Forces had their moment. Back in the day, they were legendary. They were clean, versatile, the go-to sneaker that worked with literally any outfit. Rappers wore them, athletes wore them, kids in school wore them. Having a fresh white pair was like holding a status symbol that instantly made your outfit look better. But now, they're everywhere. The Air Force One has gone from iconic to oversaturated. If you wear Forces in 2025, you're basically saying one of two things. Either, I didn't know what else to buy, so I went with the safe option. Or, I'm stuck in 2018 and can't move on. They've become the default setting, the entry-level character skin of the sneaker world. Walk down any street in any city, and I guarantee you'll spot at least 5 people wearing them in the first 10 minutes. It's no longer rare, no longer exciting, no longer something that says anything unique about you. And here's the real test. Look down at your own Forces. Are they clean, crisp, and still shining? If yes, then respect. You actually care about presentation, you take the time to keep them looking fresh, and you probably have a couple backup pairs at home. But if your Forces are beat up, creased like an old leather couch, and turning yellow on the sides, sorry, but you've just given up on life. Nothing screams, "I stopped trying," louder than a dirty pair of Forces. It's almost like carrying a sign that says, "Don't expect too much from me." The crazy part is how universal they are. Forces used to be a New York staple, then spread through hip-hop culture, then into mainstream fashion, and now they're everywhere. Every high school hallway looks like a white Air Force convention. Every club, every bar, every mall. It's the same shoe again and again. At this point, the Air Force One doesn't say style. It says average. It says, I Googled best sneaker to wear and clicked the first result. Of course, there are exceptions. Some people style them right. They rock them with vintage denim, oversized tees and chains, and it still looks clean. But most people, they throw them on with skinny jeans or sweatpants, and suddenly they just blend into the crowd. And let's not even talk about the fake ones. If you're out here rocking Forces with suspicious stitching and a swoosh that looks like it's melting, we already know what kind of person you are. Air Force Ones today scream, basic default character, and that's the harsh truth. If you want to stand out in 2025, you'll need something else. Don't get me wrong, they're still a classic, and they'll always have their place in sneaker history. But right now, they're more of a background shoe than a statement piece. Wearing them is like saying, yeah, I play it safe. I don't take risks. I just want to blend in. So if you want to really say something with your shoes, maybe it's time to retire the Forces and pick something with a little more personality. Because in 2025, the Air Force One isn't a flex anymore. It's just a reminder that trends don't last forever. Now Timberlands. Tims are bold. These aren't just boots. They're a whole personality. If you wear them, you clearly don't care about blending in. You probably walk heavy, talk heavy, and act like you own the block, even if you're just buying milk at the grocery store. Tims say, I want people to hear me coming from 3 blocks away. My calves are crying, but my ego feels amazing. The truth is, Timberlands carry energy. They're not sneakers, they're statements. When you step into a room with Tims on, you're not just entering, you're announcing yourself. Every step sounds like you're stomping on concrete, even if you're walking on carpet. And that's the thing. People who wear Tims love that presence. They don't want to disappear. They want you to notice. But here's where it gets interesting. Not everyone can actually pull them off. In New York, Tims are culture. They're tied to hip-hop, to streetwear history, to icons who made them bigger than just boots. Worn right, they look powerful, authentic, and timeless. But outside of that context, sometimes it just looks like you're cosplaying a rap video from the 2000s. Imagine someone rocking Tims in a small-town grocery store with skinny jeans. It looks less main character energy and more wrong movie set. There are also 2 main types of Timberland wearers. The first type keeps them clean, laced up tight, and polished. These people mean business. They probably coordinate outfits, care about details, and use their Timbs as a power move. Then there's the second type, the loose laces, scuffed pair, beat to the ground. These guys wear them like a lifestyle. They don't care if the leather's cracked or if the soles are falling apart. If anything, the damage adds character. And let's talk about comfort. Everyone pretends Timbs are the most comfortable boots in the world, but let's be real, they're bricks. They're heavy, stiff, and after a few hours, your legs are begging for mercy. But that's the point. Wearing Timbs isn't about comfort, it's about attitude. If you're stomping around in boots that weigh more than your gym dumbbells, it sends a message. I can handle pain, and I look good while doing it. Timbs also say a lot about personality. They're for people who value loyalty, toughness, and respect. They're not subtle, they're loud, unapologetic, and demanding of attention. If sneakers are about flexing trends, Timbs are about flexing presence. And that's why they still stand out. In a sea of Jordans, Forces, and Yeezys, a solid pair of Timbs still makes people double take. Of course, the memes are endless. Everyone's seen the jokes about Timbs being bulletproof, waterproof, and apocalypse-proof. You can step in puddles, mud, snow, and they'll survive. Some people even claim you can build a house in them, fight a war in them, and then still wear them to dinner. Whether that's true or not, the myth adds to their legend. At the end of the day, Timberlands are bold. They're not for everyone, and if you can't pull them off, you'll look out of place fast. But if you wear them with confidence, they instantly upgrade your energy. Timbs say, I'm here, I'm strong, and I don't need validation. And in 2025, that's still a powerful statement. Then there are the Jordan 4s, the hype shoe of the moment. Scroll through Instagram, TikTok, or pull up to a sneaker event, and you'll see them everywhere. And let's be real, they're fire. The design is clean, the colorways keep getting better, and they look good with almost anything. But rocking them says a lot more than just, I've got good taste. Jordan 4 scream, I know culture, I'm tuned in, I belong here. But here's the truth, half the people wearing them don't even know what number Jordan played in. They're not buying legacy, they're buying hype. And getting them isn't easy. You fight bots, enter endless raffles, and most people still take L's. Which means if someone's flexing a fresh pair, they're either lucky, connected, or just dropped half a paycheck on resale. That's where the double-edged sword comes in. On one side, 4s elevate your fit and earn respect. On the other, they're dangerously close to being called sneaker try-hard. Because when everyone's rocking the same shoe, you stop looking unique and start looking like you're chasing clout. At the end of the day, Jordan 4s are iconic. But wearing them in 2025, people are already judging. And that's both the power and the problem of the Jordan 4. Then we've got Nike Noctas, Drake's shoes. If you're rocking a pair in 2025, you're definitely making a statement. Sleek, minimal, and mysterious. They look like Drake's entire personality packed into one sneaker. If you wear them, you're saying, I've got taste, but I don't need to scream it. It's a quiet kind of flex, like whispering, I'm rich, instead of shouting it. But here's the brutal truth. If you see someone in Noctas, there's a good chance they're fake. These are one of the most copied sneakers right now. CN fans, DHgate, they're flooding the market with replicas that look scarily close to the real thing. Unless you know every detail, it's almost impossible to tell. So every time you see a pair on the street, you can't help but wonder, are those authentic? Or did bro just drop $120 on a one-to-one replica? That's the risk with Noctas. If they're real, you're refined and ahead of the curve. If they're fake, you're exposed as someone desperate to flex. The subtle design makes them stylish, but also forgettable. To some, they're just black trainers. At the end of the day, Noctas say, I move different. But in reality, most pairs out there probably just move straight from a replica factory. And now dad's shoes, the chunky sneakers. You know the type. Balenciaga Triple S, New Balance 550S, Adidas Oswegos. Call them what you want, the formula is always the same. Oversized sole, bulky shape, and the kind of design that makes you ask, wait, are those actually cool or just ugly? That's the magic of dad's shoes. If you wear them, you're either super ironic playing into the ugly cool trend, or you're actually a dad, and comfort is now your only personality trait. There's no middle ground. Dad's shoes scream, "My feet hurt, but I also want people on TikTok to think I'm fashionable." It's a gamble every time you step outside in them. You're either a genius ahead of the trend, or you just look like you grabbed your sneakers straight out of a Walmart clearance aisle. But let's be real, not all dad shoes are equal. Balenciaga Triple S turned the whole world upside down when they dropped. They were huge, they were controversial, and they cost more than someone's rent. Rocking them said, "I want attention. I don't care if you think they're ugly. In fact, the uglier you think they are, the more I win." Then you've got New Balance, the OG dad sneaker. But here's the twist. New Balances actually aged into being stylish. What used to be the official uniform of suburban dads grilling in the backyard has somehow turned into the go-to shoe for fashion editors in Paris. That's evolution. And then there's Adidas Oswegos, which tried to capitalize on the trend with a slightly slimmer, more wearable look. They're safe, chunky but not too chunky. They say, "I want to dip into the dad vibe, but I don't want people laughing at me." Respect, but also a little boring. But let's not dodge the truth here. The king of dad's shoes, the dad's shoe of all dad's shoes, the absolute monarch of chunky confusion, is the Fila Disruptor. That shoe had an entire era where every mall in the world looked like a Fila takeover. Suddenly, every teenager who had never even heard of Fila was stomping around in these massive, clunky, white bricks. They were everywhere. Instagram, TikTok, festivals, schools. It was like a zombie invasion of bad taste disguised as a trend. Wearing Fila Disruptors said, "I want to be fashionable, but I don't actually know how." It was the entry-level ugly shoe, the trial version of the chunky sneaker wave. And the wild part? For a while it worked. People bought them in millions. But fast forward to now, and the Fila Disruptor is pure meme material. If you see someone still wearing them in 2025, you have to ask, are they being ironic? Or are they just stuck in 2017? That's the dangerous beauty of dad shoes. When you pull them off, you look edgy, forward-thinking, unafraid to challenge norms. When you miss, you look like someone's uncle who wandered into a fashion show by mistake. And that's why they're polarizing. You either love them or hate them, there's no in between. At the end of the day, dad's shoes are proof that fashion is a cycle. Ugly becomes cool, cool becomes basic, and basic becomes embarrassing. And in that cycle, one shoe will always sit at the throne of ironic style gone too far. The Fila Disruptor, the true dad's shoe of all dad's shoes. So what do your shoes say about you? Are you the basic force wearer, the culture flex with Jordans, or the risk taker rocking dad shoes? Let me know in the comments, and if you're brave enough, drop your sneaker rotation. I want to see who's really got heat and who's still stuck in the Fila era. At the end of the day, sneakers aren't just sneakers. They're your personality on display. They tell people how much effort you put into your style, how deep you are in the culture, and sometimes whether you're trying a little too hard. But that's what makes them fun. Fashion is always changing, trends come and go, and what's dead today might be hype again in 5 years. That's the game. So don't just wear your shoes, own them. Whether they're clean, beat up, real, fake, or ironic, rock them with confidence. Because in the end, confidence beats hype every time. If you enjoyed this breakdown, smash the like button, subscribe for more fashion and sneaker culture videos, and share this with that one friend whose sneakers definitely need a reality check. Trust me, they'll thank you later. And remember, your fit starts at the feet. Make sure your shoes are saying exactly what you want the world to hear.